Imagine visiting your girlfriend's family for the first time, only to discover that they don't want your money, they don't want your life, they want something far worse. What started as a normal weekend quickly became a nightmare that no one could have imagined. Strange servants, creepy guests, and a secret so horrifying that escaping alive becomes almost impossible. This is the terrifying story of Get Out, 2017, and trust me, the ending will leave you speechless. Chris Washington is a young black photographer who's smart, a little guarded, and funny in that low-key way that makes you root for him immediately. He's dating Rose, a white woman he met months earlier, and when she invites him to meet her parents for the first time, he agrees despite a niggling voice of caution. That's where Get Out begins. Not with loud scares but with a slow burn of weirdness, awkward politeness, and the creeping sense that something is very, very wrong. The film opens on a quiet country road where a young black man is walking alone. He gets a lift, says something off, and we're given our first jolt, an abduction with no explanation. It's an ominous prologue that hangs in the air as we shift to the city and meet Chris in his element, taking photos, bantering with his best friend Rod, and teasing Rose about her slightly sheltered upbringing. Chris's chemistry with Rod is a relief in the film's tense world. Rod, a TSA agent with a quick mouth and a bigger heart, is the comic angle and the moral alarm bell. He's the one who calls out danger when Chris starts making excuses to ignore it. The trip up to Rose's parents' estate in the suburbs is a textbook exercise in discomfort. Rose's father, Dean, is a lawyer who makes offhand comments about how liberal he is, and her mother, Missy, is a psychiatrist with a knack for reading people. Their son Jeremy is volatile and weirdly aggressive. Then there are the household staff, Georgina and Walter, both black, both oddly stiff, and both behaving in ways that set Chris's instincts on edge. There's that one moment at dinner, ostensibly about deer and hunting, where thin polite conversation tips into something racially awkward and painful. Dean's attempts at inclusive banter come off as performative. Jeremy's rudeness masks deeper hostility. It's a masterclass in social discomfort played with unsettling precision. Chris's unease builds as he notices more oddities. A wall of photographs in the house includes faces that look like people he's seen around town, including someone he recognizes from a missing persons report. He tries to rationalize it. It's a big house, people come and go, but the evidence keeps piling up. A former friend's face appears in a family portrait, and then the friend is nowhere to be found. The staff switch between servility and stiff, rehearsed expressions. Rose keeps insisting that everything is fine. She's a good actor. Her affection for Chris looks authentic, but the film gives you the slow, awful feeling that the person who seems most tender is the one who can most easily hurt you. Then Missy corners Chris in private under the pretense of helping him with his occasional insomnia. The hypnosis scene is one of the movie's most chilling sequences. It starts clinical and ends somewhere else entirely. Missy uses a teacup stirring technique and talks about being able to get someone to sleep so completely that they can't act or even feel. Chris's subconscious shows him a traumatic memory about his mother's death in a car crash, and Missy slips him into what she calls the sunken place. A black void where his consciousness is trapped and his body is controlled by someone else. The sunken place concept becomes the film's metaphor for powerlessness. It's visually small but thematically huge. The more Chris resists, the more the family's true nature is revealed. It's not just a creepy conspiracy, it's an organized operation. The Armitages, Dean, Missy, Jeremy, and Rose, are part of a bizarre scheme that preys on black bodies. Wealthy white clients buy the physical bodies of healthy black people and have their own consciousness transferred into them. The original consciousness is shoved into the sunken place, alive but essentially silenced and used as a shell. It's called the coagula procedure, and learning about it is devastating. The horror isn't just murder, it's theft of identity. The film handles this idea with a terrifying logic. The family's charm turns out to be their cover story, their liberal yet elitist banter a facade that hides something monstrous. Chris's fear is validated when he meets other black people at the house who are not themselves. An older blind art dealer who seems to be someone else inside, and several other victims who've been emptied out. There's a scene where a photography studio is full of portraits of black people, their eyes blank. It clicks together horribly. Chris realizes he's being prepared to be sold at an auction the family hosts, a chilling, clinical bidding where his body would be the prize. Rose's betrayal finally lands with a brutal clarity. She's been grooming him all along, part of the con, and the affection she showed was a tool. The film tightens into a nerve-raw escape story. Chris tries to get away, and the family responds with cold professionalism. He's drugged and hypnotized again, and at the operation's edge he glimpses visions of the men who have gone before him. But Chris is not defeated. His resourcefulness and the small human connections he made, a radio call to Rod, the memory of his mother's warning, help him fight back. The tension crescendos into a violent, frantic scramble. Dean and Jeremy become less the polished hosts and more unapologetic predators, revealing layers of desperation and entitlement. It's not just the physical danger, it's the moral rot of people who think they can buy bodies and erase identities. Rod, who throughout has been the comic relief friend, becomes crucial as the outside conscience and savior figure. He refuses to let Chris's reports be dismissed and digs into the Armitage family's history. Rod's investigation is played for laughs at moments, his bravado, his fake seriousness when he dons a disguise, but it's also the embodiment of refused indifference. When he finally storms into the estate, it's payback for all the disbelief Chris had faced from authorities whenever he reported danger. Rod refuses to be the man who shrugs and moves on. He is stubborn, loud, and utterly human in his belief in his friend. Without giving away every twist, the finale is a hall of mirrors of violence, betrayal, and grim humor. Chris uses his wits, his camera, and a furious desire not to disappear to turn the house's tools against the people who set this up. The film's violence is sharp and efficient. It's not gratuitous for gore's sake, but it's necessary and cathartic. When the final beats arrive, you feel the release. Chris's survival is earned, not lucky. It's messy, harrowing, and oddly satisfying in its moral clarity. Rose's last-minute attempts at playing the devastated girlfriend fall flat when the real nature of her choices is exposed. Rose's complicity is the film's bitterest sting because it underscores how trust can be weaponized. Jordan Peele wrote and directed Get Out with an eye for social detail and a filmmaker's knack for timing. The film blends horror, satire, and social commentary so the scares often feel like punchlines that leave bruises. The humor is dark, but it humanizes Chris and keeps you invested in him as a person, not just a victim. The movie's genius is how it slowly reveals its mechanics. Small microaggressions bloom into a full-scale commodification of black bodies, and the family's genteel racism is revealed to be barbaric capitalism with a smiling face. By the end, the film makes a larger point about viewing black trauma as spectacle and the ways privileged people believe they can possess others. But it's never just a lecture. Get Out is emotionally precise. It gives us a protagonist with agency, a friend who refuses to abandon him, and a villainous system that looks like an upper-middle-class lawn. It's scary because it's plausible, not in the supernatural sense, but in the way history and contemporary social dynamics can be twisted into mechanisms of control. Chris's escape, when it comes, is both personal and symbolic. The last moments are a frantic mix of consequences, luck, timing, and small acts of bravery, and they land hard. There's an honesty to the film's resolution. It doesn't pretend everything's fixed, but it does offer a satisfying end to Chris's immediate nightmare. You leave the movie shaken and thinking, and with Rod's booming, unapologetic laugh echoing as a reminder that friendship and refusal to stay silent can matter. Get Out manages to be entertaining and deeply unsettling at the same time. It's a tight genre picture with social teeth and a protagonist you can't help but root for. Daniel Kaluuya's performance anchors the film with a vulnerability that's never indulgent and a courage that grows scene by scene. The supporting cast, all of them playing an uncomfortable mix of charm and menace, makes the world of the film feel real and therefore all the more dangerous. If you haven't seen it, go in expecting a slow-burn psychological horror that rewards attention. And if you have seen it, you know how Peele uses every joke and awkward pause to escalate dread until the final confrontation. It's a modern classic of social horror, terrifying, smart, sharply observed, and strangely funny when it needs to be. Chris survives because he refuses to be erased, and that refusal is the movie's fiercest, most human act. And that's how one innocent visit turned into one of the most disturbing nightmares ever put on screen. Would you have noticed the warning signs early enough to escape? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more horror movie recaps. Thanks for watching.